Hi there, welcome to Sukkos before Sukkos. Today we're going to continue in Perek Gimel, Mishna Vov. We are continuing our discussion about the esrog, different requirements which the esrog have to have. Says the Mishnah, also chazozis al ruboy, if a scab-like boil grew on the majority of the esrog. These are different things which make the esrog posel, which make the esrog invalid. The Gemara does tell us something interesting over here, that even a small boil can invalidate the esrog if it is found on the nose, on the choitim, on the top of the esrog. Here we're talking about the body of the esrog is covered, the majority of it is covered by a boil, or nitla pitmosoi, if its pitum was removed. The pitum, of course, is that flowery little top on the top of the esrog. If that top stem, that little piece, that pitum had been removed, it is invalid. The reason that it's invalid is because the esrog has to be complete. If its pitum is lacking, that is called choser. Of course, we know that this rule only applies to an esrog which originally had a pitum, but one which did not have a pitum from the beginning is not deficient, is not posel. Niklaf, if it was peeled. Here the Mishnah is not talking about the inner layer. It's talking about even if nothing is missing from the esrog, because the thick inner layer is still there, but that outer layer is peeled, mistak, or if it was split, and here too, even though no part of the esrog is missing, it's just that it is split, nikav v'choser kolshu, or if it was punctured and is missing a slight portion. Many mafarshim, many of the commentaries understand over here that the Mishnah means the esrog was both punctured and is missing something, not just punctured, but that it was punctured and missing something. How much does it have to be missing? The Gemara says it has to be missing the size of a small Roman coin called an isser. When it misses that amount, then it is considered to be invalid. That is not considered to be a complete esrog. There is an important point to make here, and that is that if the little hole, even if it's the size of a tiny little pin, if it goes through from one side of the esrog to another, which is called a nekev hamafulosh, a hole which goes through from one side to another, that invalidates the esrog automatically, even if nothing is missing. But here we're talking about when the esrog is both is punctured and has a hole, is missing a portion. In all these different cases, the esrog is posel, it is not good enough, one cannot use it, it's invalid. The reason being either because it's not hodor, it's not considered to be beautiful, or it is choser, it's missing something. The Torah says, "Ulekachtem lachem," you shall take for yourself. Lekicha, taking means a lekicha tama, a complete taking, not taking something which is missing out. Says the Mishnah, on the other hand, also chazozis al miyutoi, if a boil covered only a minority of it, or nital uktsoi, if its stem was taken, not the pitum on the top, not the top kind of stem piece, the flowery part, but the oiketz is the part which connects the esrog to the tree. If that was taken, nikav loy choser kolshehu, or if it had a hole in it, it was punctured but it wasn't missing anything. In all these cases, the esrog is kosher, it is valid. It's interesting regarding the esrog which has no stem, has no oiketz. The Rambam does rule, that is the halach in Shulchan Aruch, that this is talking about when it still has. This is only true if the oiketz is not completely removed. That's when it is. That is when it is kosher. But a total loss of the oiketz, when that part, the stem which connects it to the tree, is totally missing, that esrog is invalid. Esrog hakushi posel literally means an Ethiopian esrog is invalid. Rashi says that this literally means an esrog which grew in Ethiopia. The Gemara does clarify that this is speaking about an esrog which is in a place like Eretz Yisrael. You bring an Ethiopian esrog and it looks different, but in Ethiopia itself, even though it was very dark and it looks different, over there, because it's more or less the norm, that would be okay. For hayora kakarsi, if it is green as a leek, which means that it's not exactly so ripe, Rabbi Meir says that it is kosher. For Rabbi Yehuda Poisel, Rabbi Yehuda says that it is no good, because Rabbi Yehuda holds that when the Torah says you should take a pre-eitz hodor, a beautiful fruit, that means a ripe fruit. Carries on the next Mishnah and says, Shir esrog hakoton. What is the minimum size of an esrog? How big does the esrog have to be? Rabbi Meir omer ke'egois. Rabbi Meir says the minimum size is the size of a nut, so really tiny. Rabbi Yehuda gives us a bit more place to be a bit bigger. He says kabeitza, it has to be the size of an egg. The halacha over here follows Rabbi Yehuda, and that is that an esrog smaller than an egg is possible, is invalid. Uva godol, what is the maximum size for an esrog? Kedei sheyoiches shnayim biyodei achas. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says it has to be so that he can hold 2 esrogim in one hand, which doesn't give it too much space because you have to be able to fit 2 esrogim in. The reason for Rabbi Yehuda is because he says sometimes the person will take the esrog and the lulav in the wrong hand and he'll want to switch it, and we're afraid that perhaps the esrog will fall to the ground and make it invalid. Therefore, the size is, it has to be that he can hold 2 in one hand, then there won't be such a concern. However, Rabbi Yossi says, Hafilu echad b'shtei yodav. He says even an esrog, the maximum size of the esrog, he says can be very, very big, even if it's so big that you can only hold 1 esrog in both hands. So Rabbi Yossi gives it a lot more place, and the halacha is in fact like Rabbi Yossi, that an esrog can be very, very big. You always see those pictures, those video clippings of those very, very big esrogim. That follows the halacha. The halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow we'll continue with Mishna Ches.